Good afternoon from beautiful Belle State Park. This is Mini Rambo. Gonna go ahead and be adventurous and take a hike on out to Brewer's Point this afternoon, even though it's probably around 90 or so degrees, so pretty hot, but figured would take a quick hike on out there since this will be my last day at the park for a while. So if you want to come on and join me, gonna be heading on out to Brewers Point. So I'm here by the old historic 1800s barn at the beginning of the Watch House Trail. So I'm up here by the camp store and everything. Gonna follow the Watch House Trail on down all the way to Neckfields Trail, and gonna take that all the way on out to Brewers Point campground down there. So it's about 1.7 miles each way, so but it's all flat and whatnot, so not that bad of a hike. So let's get hiking. So for those of you who have never been out to Belle State Park, it's the only Virginia state park on the Rappahannock River. It's situated along about 7 miles has 7 miles of shoreline or so. It's on Virginia's northern neck, not too far from the towns of Kilmarnock and Warsaw. So it has all sorts of things to see and do, including 9 miles worth of hiking trails. You can bring horses and on a number of the trails as well. It has a canoe and kayak launch and canoe, kayak and paddleboard rentals, as well as bike rentals. Has a 30 site RV campground with bathhouse and everything. Has a motorboat launch. Has a primitive campground, which we're hiking out to today, which I'll talk about more later. Has old mansion and guest house that you can rent out for if you're having weddings or parties or what have you. Has a camp store and visitor center. Has a bunch of programs and all throughout the summer. And I'm pretty sure I covered all bases. So it's definitely a nice park to come out to. Nice and beautiful and all. So made it out to Brewer's Point a little bit ago. It was one hot hike on out. Was in the sun most of the way, and almost drank one of my 32-ounce water bottles full of water. So shows how hot it is and how important it is to stay hydrated when you're out doing hiking or whatever in hot weather like this. But you can't complain when you get to come to a view like this. This is where the Mulberry Creek here meets up with the Rappahannock River right out there. The river is about 2 miles wide here at the park, and going to the left down, to the left down this way is the Chesapeake Bay. It's about 14 river miles on down there, meets up with the bay at Stingray Point, which is on the other side of the river. Then going to the right down that way, you eventually get to towns of Tappahannock. Then beyond that is places like Fredericksburg and all, where the fall line is. So I'm gonna stay put here for a little longer, drink some more water and whatnot as I'm heading out. I'll show you one of the primitive campsites that are out here. So here's one of the, I believe, 6 campsites here at the Brewers Point campground. As you can see, it's nice gravel pad, have a tent platform there, picnic table, fire pit, and lantern post. There's no running water or electric hookups. Obviously you have to go ahead and carry your own water in, and there's no flush toilets. It's only a porta-john that's right over there. And this is hiking. It's about the 1.7 or so miles hiking, or you can rent one of the park's canoes if you're staying and canoeing to the campground, since you have easy access to the creek there and all. So it provides a perfect quiet spot for camping and all. It's nice and peaceful being at the point right next to the river and all, and you have amazing views of sunsets in the evening and whatnot, and not as many people camp out here, so there's a good chance that you might have the campground to yourself, but it provides a nice grand location for camping. So this is a primitive Brewers Point campground. I'm gonna be heading on, beginning my trek on back to the camp store where my car is. So back on the Neckfields Trail, heading on out. So over the summer, I've been working here at the park as the AmeriCorps volunteer, was considered Virginia Service and Conservation Corps member. So I was helping out with all of the interpretive programs and all, running them and creating them, that sort of thing. So I just finished up my term yesterday. Had my last day of work and all, and so I'm gonna be headed home today. Then in a few days I'll be headed back to college down at ODU in Norfolk. But I've definitely enjoyed working here. It was a great summer being able to live here on park property and getting to enjoy this park. I'd only been to Belle Isle once before last year in the summer, so when I first got here I wasn't too familiar with the park, but I quickly fell in love with the beauty and all of it, of being right on the water and that sort of thing, and got to work with some great people and get to meet some cool people, and of course be outdoors, which was always nice. So the heat and whatnot, wearing the uniform could be really hot, so that sort of sucked. But all in all, it was a great experience. If you're looking at going ahead and working for park system or so, AmeriCorps is definitely a great opportunity. Even if you're not looking at working for park system, if AmeriCorps has a whole ton of stuff throughout the United States. They don't just have programs with Virginia State Parks. They have a whole multitude of things that you can get into throughout the United States. So I highly recommend checking them out if you're looking for some sort of work or so. It's a good way to get introduced to some profession. I previously had worked at Sky Meadows State Park, which is another Virginia State Park up towards Northern Virginia area there. Worked as a contact ranger there, so in the contact station as well as visitor center, and really loved it. And so right now I'm trying to figure if I want to continue with the state parks after I finish my schooling, if I want to continue being a park ranger, or if I want to go more towards my major, which is in industrial technology, which would be more dealing with manufacturing and working in factories and all, which also sounds pretty cool and fun. So, but I definitely have enjoyed my both experiences at these two great state parks. So gonna continue on hiking here, definitely back in the sun. Just making it back to the camp store. even though it was a pretty hot one, was a good hike out to Brewers Point here at Belle Isle State Park. So if you've yet to be out to this park, I highly recommend coming out. It's only $5 entrance fee, which is well worth it. Has a whole bunch of good 9 miles worth of good hiking trails and all. So from Belle Isle State Park, this is Mini Rambo signing off, and until next time, happy trails. Peace out.